We're on a mission to talk to the 100 leading marketing minds in the automotive space. I'm Andrew Street, owner of Dealer OMG.
Matthew Davis here, Chief Marketing Officer at Trade Pending. Why are we doing this? Well, we like automotive, we like marketers, and we like retail automotive marketers. Our goal here is to give you the insights into what these leading marketers are thinking, planning, and doing.
If you're interested in hearing a marketing director of a Subaru store who's about to get out of NADA Academy, what the latest trends and the smart things that he's doing, including breathing some energy back into old traditional marketing channels, listen to this conversation that Matthew and I have with Alex Gauthier. Enjoy the show.
Alex, who are you? Where do you work? What falls under your umbrella?
I feel like there's so many smart answers I could give right here, but I'll just play it straight for once. How's that?
Sure.
Alex Gauthier. I'm the director of marketing at Heuberger Subaru in Colorado Springs. We are, I think, historically, we're the largest Subaru dealer by volume. Although we're an independent store, just one rooftop, always been right here in Colorado Springs, and no real aspirations of becoming a big, massive, fancy pants auto group. We just like to be an independent store and do that. That's what we do. So I take care of all of our marketing here. I take care of the full marketing stack. I've got just a small team, just a couple people that work with me, and we kind of run the gamut of stuff. We run less traditional these days, but certainly traditional, as well as lots of digital. So that's what I leave anything out.
I kind of want to hear the smart answers if you have some smart answers.
There's this guy that I knew back in the Army who introduced himself to everybody for the first time as the Black Blade of Death.
Okay.
The superhero name. I figure I'd start using that myself. And I wouldn't
It sounds mysterious, and it comes with the gag order where you can't talk about the secrets that you're working with.
But yet I won't respond now to any other name for the rest of this podcast.
All right.
Andrew, over to you.
Yeah, well, Mr. Blade of Death, I understand that you're going through NADA Academy right now.
Yes, sir.
What's that experience been like?
Really positive. It's, as the marketing person going through NADA Academy, you're sort of a weird creature. I think NADA itself is not quite sure to do with people like me just yet. There's more of us going through the program now, but it's kind of a weird situation because we sort of work at every department in the store. And normally you have somebody who has worked in sales or has worked in service or parts or whatever it is, and they're just going through to have the rest of the experience, or it's the progeny of the ownership or situation like that. So we have, I think as marketers, we have a little bit of a unique perspective when we look in these departments, and we don't look at things through the same lens that a service manager would look at the sales department or vice versa. And NADA tends to, they assume, I'm noticing that it's assumed I know several things, which I most certainly do not know. So that's part of it. And it's a lot of coming up to speed, trying to get that knowledge under my belt. And luckily, I have a great team at the store that are super supportive. So they're schooling me where I'm short. But then I also bring a more analytical mindset to the other dealership operations, which I think NADA is trying to engender in everyone that's there, but it's kind of the default position for us marketers already, at least most of us. So I would say that's the biggest thing I notice. And then other than that, it's just, where are your own personal strengths? Do you like numbers? Do you enjoy formulas and stuff like that? If so, NADA has you covered. There's a lot of those. Personally, I don't like doing the math myself. I prefer to use a spreadsheet or a dashboard to do math for me. But I'd say it's a very good exercise kind of doing it manually as well. And we certainly do a lot of that stuff.
I like that coming from a marketer, that you're not as into the numbers, because it's easy for us in marketing to get sucked into the numbers, which is important, but it's all of a sudden you're just like metrics driven.
Sure.
Versus losing sight of outside the box creative ideas.
Right. Well, intuition is very powerful. If you think something's broken for some reason, then to go look at the data to see if it's broken. And it's nice to have the data there to tell you if it is broken or if you just need to chill out. That's kind of how I think of it, you know.
Let me segue into a question that's kind of related to that. There's the eternal marketing debate, like brand versus demand. Alex, how do you think about balancing that budget of I need to spend some amount or do something to create brand awareness versus the spend on we just need leads coming through the door to get people to buy cars and schedule service appointments? How do you weigh those two?
Well, it's a little bit of a chicken and the egg situation, isn't it? Because on one hand, if you think about what truly is brand, it's certainly just not a logo. That's
right.
Not brand. Brand is, I definitely strongly believe that your brand is who your customers tell you your brand is. You don't get to decide that. The only way you decide your own brand is by how you behave in front of your customers. So to have, do I get my brand out there, or do I get the customers in the door? You kind of have to get the customers before you know who you are as a brand. I think a lot of companies start off, this one certainly did. We just want to sell cars. Seems like a good business. So we started selling cars, and then over time our brand is developed. That said, for a Subaru dealer, brand becomes a little bit of it's an important thing to think about, because Subaru as a brand, Subaru of America as a brand, they're all about national parks and Make-A-Wish Foundation, and they really want car dealers to be more than just a car dealer, which we are. But what's so funny in our industry is that a lot of car dealers who are not Subaru dealers definitely believe that way. You can see that in the charities that we support in our communities. And although Subaru has co-opted the community mindset, that's actually something that was our brand before Subaru started doing it. And I think a lot of car dealers could really say that. That said, as well, I mean, when I'm thinking about when I'm advertising or choosing what messages to send to potential customers, it just kind of depends. If it's a high funnel situation, we're definitely leading with brand, and we're hoping, they're probably going to be looking at Subaru already, so they have some idea that that dealer is going to be interested in supporting the community. If they have never been in my town before and they just moved here, then I want them to see that we do embody those characteristics of the Subaru brand. We're 100% in alignment with that. It's actually really important to us, not just for our business, but just for us personally as an independent store. I mean, we do all of the stuff, but further than that, our ownership donates a lot of their own money and time to these same charities. It's not just the business's money that's going into these things. So it really truly is who we are. And you need people to know that. But at the end of the day, what they really care about once they've figured out where they can buy Subaru is it a good deal? Are they going to be treated well? So you can't, you're definitely doing both those things. But we do think about that a lot, and it's important to us.
It sounds like they give you autonomy to think outside of just month to month, where right now is the 31st of July, by the way, when we're recording this, and there could be like a fire on your desk to sell 7 new vehicles before close.
Could be.
Marketing is
sounds like
always,
you're able to,
Yeah, I think it's more like 17, but keep going.
Because marketing is really good at getting leads like really fast.
Yeah, I can
that's what we specialize in.
Squeeze them out of thin air. Yeah, I anticipated this situation months ago.
So in the NADA Academy, is it all marketers, or is it different?
Not at all. No.
So you're like the one. Are you the one weirdo in there?
I'm one of 2 weirdos.
Okay.
One of the other weirdos is she's actually in the family of the store ownership. So she's kind of is doing the marketing because they don't need her to do something else, and she happens to like it. But I've actually chosen this existence, which you can make whatever value judgment you want to, I suppose. But I actually was drawn to this from the beginning, and I think she's really good at it, and I think she enjoys it. I would encourage anybody to spend some time in the marketing chair at any store. I think you gain insights to other departments that you wouldn't otherwise have. But no, I'm certainly an oddball in that sense.
Especially with a name like Black Blade of Death. But
that's true. Yeah.
It seems like they've got good focus on the growth of your career and your skill set. It sounds like the dealership's open to putting you into the program, time away from your desk.
Yep.
I imagine that there's travel and all this stuff.
That is not at all lost on me. I'm super flattered that they have the faith that I can even think about those other things, other than just whether or not an ad is pretty or not. But I mean, that's good. Makes me feel good. But yeah, I would say, is it unusual? I think it is a little bit unusual for someone to send the marketing manager who's not related to their family or not somehow connected to store leadership in another way to the academy. It certainly is a serious expense, not just the academy itself, but the travel. So yeah, it's extremely flattering. But even before this, they were, I think, part of their motivation is just making sure that we are kind of up to date on market trends and tactics and all what really matters, what the current state of the cutting edge of the tech stack looks like. These are all things we've always cared about. So I go to conferences, and I spend time in 20 groups. NADA has a digital marketing 20 group that you can join. So there are resources out there that they've plugged me into before the academy as well.
That's great. They either view you as like a very talented within the organization, or everybody else just wasn't good enough, and so they had to send you.
We got to level somebody up here.
Yeah, right. Or I drew the short straw.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, right. Send him. Very tactical question for you. If you had to take a swing or a guess, how many tools do you think is in your marketing tech stack just to get stuff shipped out the door? They think about all the software tools you have to log into.
I mean, the personal stuff that I use on a daily basis, just, there's just going to be like your typical Google dashboards, that kind of thing. I use a lot of different tools just to keep me organized and communicate with my team, like just Monday dashboards and stuff like that. I use a couple of analytics reporting tools besides Google. And now I'm pretty heavily invested in monitoring the sort of status of our first party data here at the store. That's increasingly a bigger and bigger focus for me. And then in addition to that, I am looking at whatever metrics and KPIs our various ad partners are sending over and sitting in those meetings. I mean, it's hard to put a number on it. I feel like I don't know, there's probably 20, 30 different things.
Yeah, easy.
Looking at, yeah.
Do you ever feel like you're getting closer and closer to connecting the dots between advertising and car sales?
Well, I mean, with first party data, the platform that I'm using now, I do feel like we're getting there. I feel like other industries have that particular thing figured out a little bit better than we do in automotive. And I think that's partially because the tech landscape is so fractured. There's so many different products out there, some of it's super old school, and there's a lot of noise. If you're at a dealership and you haven't been exposed to as many things, I think it can be really difficult to figure out if you're being sold just the same thing with another logo on it, or if there's actually something unique about a product or service you're looking at. I don't know that that's quite as prevalent in, say, the tech industry or pharmaceuticals or whatever other industry. I feel like they've got a little bit better access to those tools and data than we do, so it is a little easier to connect it. We're starting to get there, though. I'm starting to see more. I can make more of those connections than I used to be able to, say, a year ago.
I think we got dangerously close to being able to really solve that riddle.
Yeah.
A few years ago, before the cookie deprecation and the lawsuits that flew around with like doing conversions API and offline event tracking and all these things to be able to see how many times people saw an ad, what the last time they saw an ad was, and then when they filled out the lead, then they turn into an up. And then by pulling out that data from your DMS, you can sort of paint a picture that could be an adversarial conversation with the dealer to be like, okay, 60 of the 85 sales saw these ads from here. Like, well, then we would have sold what, 15 cars? No way. It's like,
Right.
well, they saw the ad.
That doesn't mean they're going to buy it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Then it
Yeah.
got,
That's where it's kind of on you to make sure your targeting is squared away. And that's actually what it comes down to, is the targeting is the part that's hard. Like, you can show everybody an ad. That's easy. Like, there's 9 ways to Sunday to show every single person an ad. But, you want to show they work best when you're hitting that person with an ad that actually makes sense to them and matters. Like, that's the kind of the holy grail. Actually, where that landscape is really tough is in connected TV right now. I feel like that's the hard spot. Or even Google search is tough too, because they need the audience to be so big. But I actually don't want to show everybody who's been on my website an ad for a Crosstrek when only 2,700 of them were on a Crosstrek VDP, right? Why should I show you a Crosstrek ad when you're looking at trucks or some other thing?
That's the blessing and the curse of segmentation.
Yep.
Yeah, you can get super granular. Go ahead, Matthew.
Yeah, so give us a sense of how is AI playing a role today in anything that you do, from your marketing position or with the rest of the team there?
Yeah. Well, full disclosure, none of us do our jobs anymore. We all just have ChatGPT do it for us, right?
Is this even the real blade of death?
Right. I actually, initially, I have a sort of nuanced opinion of this technology. Everyone's calling it AI. It's a little tough for me to call it AI because it's not the AI I dreamed of when I was reading sci-fi novels as a kid. Like, it's not self-aware. It can't marry somebody or write a pop song that is written from the heart. Like, it's not true AI. So large language models, I would say, on one hand, they're definitely a force multiplier for me. There's certain things I'm just able to do better with the help of an AI. And I'll use a non-marketing example just to give you an idea, although I apply this the same way in marketing. I'm restoring an old Volkswagen Westfalia right now. It was my granddad's. So in ChatGPT, I've created a project that I use for this. So there's all kinds of online resources out there that will give you information about restoring one of these things, and where you can get parts, how you fix certain things, what kind of issues you're likely to run into. Like, whatever issue you're trying to figure out, somebody else has already solved it, and it's probably on a website somewhere. Now, in the past, I would just search Google for that, and what I would get back would be pages and pages of information that I would not have a prayer in hell of getting through ever to actually get an answer. So then I would just go down the street a few days later and just ask a guy I know who knows more than I do. And then chances are he might know that information, but to get to that answer could take me some time. ChatGPT is a game changer just for search alone, right? Because it'll search all those places and it understands the context of what I'm asking more because of the rest of the conversations in the project that we've already had. So if I'm asking it about wheel sizes one day, and then a week later I want to talk about tire sizes, it already knows that I know that I need tires that fit the wheels we were discussing last week, right? So it's got that. But then on top of that, I have a spreadsheet of all of the modifications and improvements that I've already made to this van, and I've uploaded that into the project as well. So now it knows where I am along in my project for restoring this guy, right? And then when I find a piece of information that, I'm going to totally do this one day to my van, and that goes on a list of stuff. So it knows that that's in my plan. So as it begins to recommend things to me as I search, I actually don't search Google anymore. I have a project that I search and that I do research in just for this van. And it gives me information that is definitely based on the context of our existing conversation, rather than just giving me everything on the internet. And it even breaks it down into, painstaking detail with nice formatting and little icons and stuff to make it pretty for me. And then if I tell it, hey, just give it to me in one sentence, it'll do that. If I just want short answer, it'll do that. Applied to marketing, that becomes really powerful. Or here's another example, going through my NADA certification, I have all of this information that I'm learning in class. So they give you a workbook. I put my workbook into the project, and then I can, anything that's in that workbook, I can now ask ChatGPT for that information rather than have to flip through a physical workbook. I can just very quickly get that answer right from the workbook. Plus, it knows it's an NADA source thing, so it's also going to look at what is out there on the web that's from NADA. So I'm actually getting information that NADA has blessed as being correct information. But then in class, the teacher is giving me all kinds of stories from his personal experience, things that are not in the workbook. And then I have, you could go crazy. You could put financial statement, spreadsheets, anything at all in it. It can analyze a financial statement, which I've spent the last year so far learning how to do. So pretty powerful, right? And now when I come back to my store, I can say, hey, here's a problem I'm having in my service department. From my service class, I go in that project, say, hey, how do I fix fixed absorption in this department? And then it'll say, bang, here's some things from your class, and I'll remember some of them, others I won't. Here's some additional things from the internet that you might try. So it's really super powerful. It's not so much that it's doing the work. I think of it more, the way I use it, it's more consolidating everything in one spot, right? It makes it really easy as a human being to digest information, get quickly to where you're trying to go. Like, just saves time.
This is why I'm not saving money for my kids' college education right now. I'm not doing like the tax deferred account for her. It's like, if we can she can be the master of this stuff and not need to go to college by being insanely resourceful and good at prompting and getting what I assume are right answers, and build her own Westphalia Volkswagen.
There's a trap built into this too, though, that you have to keep in mind, which is the one thing I think that's saving us. And that's that AI does have a tendency, I've noticed, to confirm your bias for you, right? So if you ask the question, hey, what is the best defense of locking down the lead gate on your digital retailing tool? Then it's going to give you all kinds of information that's going to confirm the bias built into that prompt, right? But if you ask, what are the pros and cons of having a lockdown lead gate in your digital retailing tool? Now it's going to give you a much different answer. So just because you can ask AI anything, there's a lot of magic in knowing what you should ask it. So it can't really just do your job for you, because it's going to try to please you. It's like being a king with a sycophant advisor that only gives you good news and only tells you how beautiful and great you are.
I need that in my life.
Right. Well, that's you covered. You have a podcast for that, daily affirmations.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is kind of tricky in the automotive space for vendors really pursuing AI outside of the chatbot stuff, which is cool. And that certainly has a purpose for people like me who can generate a ton of really cheap leads and have them find all the toads that'll turn into a prince and then just hand over princes to the dealer.
Yeah.
There's AI where you're making agents that are sifting data and things like that. And then all of a sudden ChatGPT comes up with this GPT agent. I guess that's what they're calling it. But it's cool. Right now while we're talking, it's analyzing my 2 credit cards and all the points and how to best translate those to flights and what month to take these flights and get business class. It's doing all this heavy lifting that I would usually try to pawn off on my wife, and then she'd turn around and give it back to me.
Yeah.
But now it's doing it for us. But to create this, to analyze DMS data and say, okay, where are the diamonds in here of people who are off lease recently, or people who have purchased from us who aren't doing routine services, to put them into these different categories. And for trade-ins, I think it's fascinating, and I think we might not need a bunch of third-party tools that can do it if we can do it ourselves.
Right. Well, what I'm noticing is more and more of those third-party tools are leaning heavily on AI. I mean, even I just had a meeting right before this podcast with a streaming TV provider who uses AI to determine targeting. So that targeting can be really simple, or you can really get into it and make it complex. And AI can certainly help parse that for you, right? And then with with our, again, going back to our first party data, like our salespeople now have access to a tool where it analyzes shopper behavior based on what marketing they've interacted with, what their website behavior looks like. And then rather than them have to go through amount of really useful data, which they are not going to do because frankly, they don't care enough. Instead, they just read a paragraph. This customer is super engaged on, Forrester VDPs. They've interacted with a bunch of marketing. They currently own this. And then that's all the salesperson needs to know, really, right? So AI summaries are, I think, another really powerful thing. But digging into business analytics, more like you're saying, Andrew, that is where I haven't seen a lot of really intelligent work done yet. That, to me, that feels like a little bit of a new landscape.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like now, the conversations we have with prospects and with dealers, like Gemini summarizes these Google Meets, dumps it right into our HubSpot. So I'm not relying on people to take really good, observations and notes. Mm-hmm. It's that we have a trailing conversation about what's important to that dealer now.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah, totally.
And I can access it. Everybody, it's the world's becoming a better place. Is what I'm trying to get after.
That's the AI. That's the AI I dream of. A better place, not the one where they take over humanity.
Right. Not the Matrix.
Yeah. Alex, what's working well for you right now when you think about your marketing efforts?
I'm sort of in love with email again, to be honest. Having the ability to, I think a lot of people probably agree with that. If they're paying attention and they're taking ownership of their email program a little more. We run email two different ways. One is an OEM provided partner. Doesn't work as well. It's kind of a set it and forget it type of deal. I don't have a lot of control over it. I don't have a lot of say over it. Any changes to anything, of course, there's a fee to change that. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm not their customer, Subaru is.
Right.
So that's not working well, which is surprising no one. But the audience activations I do through Full Path, or it's actually branded as Curator through Reynolds and Reynolds, that is kind of hitting it out of the park. I'm seeing higher engagement rates on text messages I send in my marketing than salespeople see when they're responding to customers. So,
what's the difference?
The difference is, I think that the messages, well, here AI comes again. The messages are generated by AI, and they tend to be the AI is choosing a message based on customer shopping behavior. So it's going to be more relevant, and it's doing it at a scale that a human being can't do, right? So I'm seeing right now about 17% engagement rate on those text messages versus, I don't even know what sales is that, but it's hard to get people to respond to a text message from a person. And part of that is because, again, somebody else is controlling what the language is in the opt-in text for the one that people are using.
It's a 17% response rate to people, like just kind of a cold outreach to people who are already in your CRM.
And this is a marketing text, yeah.
So are you covering that with email?
So email, I'm seeing around 3 to 5% on those. Where the open rate's much higher than that, but the actual click-through rate is around 3 to 5%, depending on the audience.
You're not a numbers guy. Yeah, dude, I love hearing when people dig up, like, breathe life back into the corpse of what people think is a dead marketing medium.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, if you think about it, email's great because it just, I don't know. I read marketing emails that I get because I'm opted in. They're companies that I'm engaged with, right? I'm not allowing the email in my inbox for stuff that doesn't interest me.
Right. When it brings value to you. It's
right.
Yeah.
Right. And I thought, I think a big danger, a big trap we can fall into as marketers is to make the mistake of thinking that other people shop and behave the way we behave and think. And I bet it's especially dangerous because as a marketer, you do not behave like your shoppers because you know all the tricks, right? I do not watch a single second of television that is ad supported, right? There's a reason why. Right? So you could probably figure that out. I don't want to watch my own ads, and I certainly don't want to watch yours, Matt.
No offense.
Right, but
Yeah.
the thing is that's the mistake we can make. Is I can say, okay, I look at email, and I know that I'm engaged with my email when it's coming from companies who I want to hear from. But the danger would be assuming that you guys are the same way. So that's where having that data to support what my intuition is telling me is really helpful. Right.
So
right, and that
go ahead.
It's kind of pulled it from like an era of knowing that your radio works and knowing your billboards are working, your TV, because when Mr. Dealer goes to the golf club, the golf course, like his friends say, "Hey, I heard your radio ad."
Right.
It's like the anecdotal affirmation, like, okay,
yeah,
people are hearing it.
Yeah.
It's working.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's true. And that's actually funny. That's one of my, if I'm critical of one ad medium or another, it's definitely going to be radio or TV, because at the end of the day, there's still, even with all the fancy technology we have now, unless somebody actually clicks through on an ad, which they're not doing on their TV anyways. And if they are, they're certainly not staying on your website. Like, you really still don't know if your ad is making a difference to that person. Like, we all trust, we have faith in it that it is working, right? But we've kind of all agreed to pretend together that it's good.
Yes. Well, the last thing you see is the sign spinner out front of the dealership.
Right.
It's like we've come full circle back to the brand versus demand debate here, right? So
yeah, for sure.
All right. So what's next for you?
For as far as marketing or
anything.
Well, getting through NADA Academy, that's the main thing. I've already, as far as what's next, I'm kind of already there, because going through the academy is really contributing to my understanding of what matters to the other stakeholders in my store. So it's already enabling me to help them in ways that they were not able to articulate to me on their own. But now I kind of have intrinsic understanding. So I'm trying to leverage that. And this year, a lot of my focus this year is figuring out ways of connecting all these powerful and unique and very specific real-time audiences to actual marketing activity. Right now, email and text is the main avenue that I can do that with. I'm looking for ways to build, to basically activate small audiences on platforms that really do not allow it. So that's kind of the nut that I'm trying to crack. Like, Google doesn't want an audience of 400 people, right? They want to build an audience like those 400 people, and that's not what I want them to do.
Enable audience expansion to 4 million.
Right.
Yeah. It's like this morning I was just talking with a dealer, and they're buying more dealerships, like onesie twosie, sweeping them up. And it's like trying to figure out transferring admin and all this technical stuff. And are they going to change the name of the dealership? But it's like, step one, let's own the customer database. Let's own your customers. Let's keep our foothold on the market share that you guys currently have. And every ad dollar, let's just make sure we're owning our own customers. Then we can look at conquesting and all the other ancillary stuff. But let's not lose a beat transitioning.
You bring up an interesting point there too, because at the end of the day, there's really not that many dealers that actually do own that data. Like, yes, those are our customers. Yes, we've been storing and gathering information about them for years and years. But at the end of the day, that data lives at Reynolds to Reynolds or whatever DMS provider you're using. And we have contracts with these people. And honestly, we don't really have control over it the way that, say, Walmart would, or, a big company like that. We're all, even the big auto groups they're just not the same scale. So developing a huge database and then rolling that out across the dealer body where every store is a little different, that's a little bit of a tough nut for us to crack. And that is one thing that's on my mind, is I don't actually own my data at the end of the day. Reynolds could go out of business.
Licensing. Yeah.
Right. And they can make decisions that affect me, and I can't stop them.
But it sounds like you've got some big things on the horizon. Like, you were looking at the microscope of what's coming on in right now, and metrics, and then like with the telescope, it's like what's down the road, what can we do to kind of like empower all of these audiences that you're able to generate with CDPs and with your own database?
Yeah, I mean,
and how can we be the dealer that's doing something unique?
The main thing is, I mean, as far as if I could generate a series of partners to help me in my business, it would be people that can reach small audiences on those platforms, on the web, on websites, on, in podcasts, wherever, any place I can broadcast messages to just the audience that I actually care about. That's kind of the holy grail for me right now.
I think you've got a bit of a monopoly. I didn't think that there was any Subaru dealers in Colorado, but I guess there's one. And are people buying Subarus in Colorado?
Okay.
Allegedly, yeah. 13% of Colorado Springs residents, anyhow.
I'm surprised it's that
That's
low.
awesome.
Yeah, well, we're the only store in town. We've been here since 1978. And we actually just had our 50th anniversary with Subaru last week. So we built 13% here by ourselves. So we're kind of proud of that number.
As you should be.
Yeah.
I can't think of the name of the book, but there's a really good book about the launch of Subaru in the United States. That's called something. It's a marketing book.
Okay.
It just talks about how nobody could say it, how they had like all these false starts, and now they nailed it.
Yeah.
Well, Alex, Black Blade, how can people follow you if they want to connect with you?
Probably the easiest way. I mean, drop me an email. I don't know if you're sharing emails with us or not, but you can share mine if you want to, or just hit me up on LinkedIn. Just search for my name. You'll find me.
And check out his photography website also. It's fun.
I'm not really running my photography business these days. So,
Well, what I saw was cool.
It's been mothballed. You can see some old work in my LinkedIn profile if you want.
Yeah, I've got some photography from 2009, 10, 11.
Yeah.
I'm still sitting on, and I pull it up from every once in a while, and that's one path I could have gone down.
I know. I did go down that path, and then I decided I like being able to pay my electric bill.
They are still paying that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Well, Matthew, Alex, it's been a real pleasure talking with both of you guys. And man, congrats on getting towards the finish line of NADA Academy and continually growing, man.
Yeah, I'm all super excited about this year's looking great.
Thank you, Alex.
Hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you did, please subscribe to the show. It helps us get out to more people like you. And if you know somebody, or you're somebody that's a sharp marketer in automotive, please reach out to us. We'd love to feature you on the show. Reach out to Ashley at dealeromg.com.